Hi, it's Sally-Shakti, your visionary writing guide, and welcome to Tarot and Astrology for Visionary Writers from Monday the 15th to Sunday the 21st of May 2023. And this is a week for me of mutability. It's a week of change. We have lots of planets changing signs in this week, and we have just had Mercury go direct this morning in the sign of Taurus. So Mercury stops at 5 degrees of Taurus and then moves directly, or goes direct, appears to be going direct back across its shadow path to 15 degrees where it went retrograde, and then will continue forwards. So Mercury remains in its shadow for the rest of this month, and then continues its path forward. Again, this is a time to be mindful of what's coming up for you. These 5 to 15 degrees of Taurus will be reactivated by Jupiter going retrograde from September through to December at the end of this year, 2023. So this is a time for manifesting the change that we are seeding in our lives and in our practice as visionary writers and creatives. We have right now Mercury just going direct. Tomorrow, on Tuesday the 16th, Jupiter will enter Taurus. So Jupiter then comes into the energy of Taurus, that grounding, manifesting, seeding, receiving energy of abundance. We've got the planet of abundance moving into the sign of abundance, and yet we are still invited to co-create and participate in what we are here to participate in and co-create, and our purpose as visionary writers and creators here on this earth. So Jupiter, as Jupiter enters Taurus, Jupiter will remain in Taurus for the next 12 months. And so this is going to be a time for really supporting us to manifest the seeds of change that are coming through for us now. If we think about what's been activated over the last few weeks, this eclipse period that we had, remember that the lunar eclipse also activated that 15 degrees of Taurus last week, when the sun was at 15 degrees of Taurus, the exact degree point of Beltane, and Mercury was going retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus. Now we have Jupiter entering Taurus, and Jupiter, when Jupiter goes retrograde in September, Jupiter will be retrograding back from 15 degrees of Taurus, the Beltane point, back to 5 degrees of Taurus, which is exactly where Mercury is today. So this point, these degree points in your chart will show you where those energies are being particularly activated for you. And what we have in general is the energy of expansion, abundance, and receiving. This is Jupiter coming through into Taurus, but we also have this energy of Mercury, and we have the energy of the Scorpio lunar eclipse, all at these same degree points of Taurus, activating change, activating what is coming through now. Mercury, I felt Mercury go direct this morning. I was just waking from sleep, and one of the symbols of Mercury, one of the powerful symbols of Mercury for me, is the caduceus, the symbol of the two snakes in a helix up the staff, and a kind of like a solar disc on the top. That is symbolic of so many different things in across different cultures. We have it as a symbol of healing, and we have it as a symbol of it correlates to the DNA. So for me, and the chakras, it's the 7 chakras, it's the Kundalini serpents, it's the rising up the spine, rising up through the chakra points up to this illuminated crown of light. So Mercury is the messenger, Mercury is the conduit, Mercury is the opening of our channels through our DNA and through our chakra system, through our Kundalini life force energy, opening our channels to receive and channel and communicate more of those higher frequencies of light that we are here to download and to manifest, and that's the Jupiter energy. But I'm thinking as well, like you know, as conductors, that we're here to earth those energies, that there's something that needs to happen through our bodies as we open our channels, as our channels become more activated and more open, as Mercury goes direct and opens up more of our capacity to channel and communicate light frequencies. Something also, there's a transmutation, there's an alchemical process that's necessary in our bodies to earth those light codes and to earth those frequencies and those energies. And so it comes down through our light channels, but then it gets expressed through our bodies, whether we're writing or speaking. That energy must undergo a transmutation. It must undergo an alchemical process to be able to be received and manifested here on this plane. And that really is, perhaps I could say, you know, a summary of what we are here for. Our purpose here at this time as visionary writers and creatives is to channel and earth and then manifest and co-create with that alchemized light energy, those alchemized light codes that we as conduits, and there's a word that I can't quite grasp at the moment, but we as conduits, as earthing rods for those energies, are here to channel and absorb and then recalibrate and co-create with those new energies that are coming through. I hope I'm making sense. I know that there's more that's just a little bit unavailable to my present level of embodied consciousness, but what's wanting to come through is that this energy of bringing down the light, allowing the Taurus energy, allows us to open up and receive. And last week I was talking a lot about the necessity of feeling safe and open to receive, and that capacity is not always available to us. But as we work on ourselves, as we work on our bodies and work through our traumas and our healings, we can open up more of our capacity to receive. This is Taurus, this is Jupiter in Taurus, this is Saturn in Pisces, asking us and inviting us to call in from the cosmos, to call in those higher light codes from the cosmos, to ground them, to earth them, to transmute them and transform them, and then to co-create with them on the earth. So this is a real dance between Mercury, Taurus, Jupiter, Gemini, as we're coming into Gemini, and these Saturn in Pisces energies. So for me, the visual that I get from Mercury going direct is the visual of the caduceus. It's the visual of Mercury as the messenger, the conduit between heaven and earth, between sky and earth, between the stars and the land, and that we are here in these bodies at this time to be that conduit, to be that open channel. And yet Taurus reminds us to prioritize self-pleasure, self-care, self-love, self-trust, nurture, all of the practices that we often neglect and that are essential for building that sense of trust in ourselves, trust in the world around us, for expanding our capacity to receive in all forms, that being earthly abundance as well as being higher manifested and new manifested light codes that we are here to receive and to to earth and to ground and to transform and to co-create with. This is for me very much the purpose of my calling, and perhaps our calling here as visionary writers and creatives, to receive new light codes, to ground that in our bodies and in our earthly abundance, and to transform, transmute, and co-create with the new frequencies that our DNA and our energy fields and our chakras are opening and expanding to receive, so that we can co-create in new forms, which is the Saturn in Pisces invitation to bring new light codes into new forms, so that we can participate in co-creating new structures of reality here on earth. That for me is the invitation and the real gift and reason for manifesting here on the earth at this time as a visionary writer or creative. So what have we got with the astrology that supports this, what I'm saying? So as I mentioned, we have Mercury now direct, moving back through from 5 to 15 degrees of Taurus and beyond, through the rest of this month of May. Tomorrow we have Jupiter entering Taurus, so that Taurus energy is now being is continuing to be activated and expanded. Anything that has been coming up for us through these 2 eclipses that we've had, the changes, the new directions, the letting go, what we've had to clear out, what we've had to release in order to create space for these new channels opening up. Any clarity that we've had through our journaling in these past couple of weeks, or past few weeks, through the eclipse portal and the eclipse period, that all is now being strengthened and expanded through the Jupiter energy. And Jupiter, as I said, will be moving through the sign of Taurus for the next 12 months. So we have a lot of support from Jupiter in Taurus to manifest in physical reality the new possibilities that are being shown to us through these 2 eclipses, and through now Mercury going direct, which will support us in recognizing and revealing what are the new directions, what are the new intentions, what are the new seeds that we are manifesting. And that might particularly become clear and activated through Friday's new moon. On Friday we have the new moon in Taurus, so our new moons and full moons have shifted. Because we had to I need to look back to have a look at what we had, but we had the 2 new moons in Aries, so now we have got the new moon in Taurus in the last degrees of Taurus. So we had the full moon in Scorpio before the new moon in Taurus, and that's shifted around. Usually it would be the new moon in Taurus followed by the full moon in Scorpio, but we've had the full moon in Scorpio, which was preceded by the second of 2 new moons in Aries. So Friday's new moon is coming up, and it's the new moon in Taurus, and it's activating for us these Taurus energies that are going to be very strong and supported by Jupiter over the next 12 months. We also have this, we're going to have Mercury traveling direct. Mercury is going to be revealing to us this week what our new directions are, what our new intentions are, what our new possibilities and perspectives are. And Friday's new moon in Taurus will help us to set our clear intentions and for manifestation of our new direction as we are moving into expanded awareness, expanded consciousness, expanded potential with our visionary writing and creativity. What are we wanting to create? What new forms are we bringing in through that invitation from Saturn in Pisces? And how will we not only manifest those in physical reality, but support ourselves in our physical embodiment at the level of nourishment and abundance to receive what we need in order to support us to manifest what we are here to manifest on the earth. This is going to be a very powerful time of recognizing and honoring our physical embodiment, especially with Jupiter in Taurus for the next 12 months. We're going to be invited often to prioritize self-care, prioritize our own nourishment, make sure that our own needs are being met on a physical and material level, because that is exactly the foundation that we need to manifest our visions and our creativity through new forms into the world, which enables us to participate as co-creators of a new earth structure. We're first of all recreating the foundations in our own physical body through our own physical alchemy, and this Mercury these Mercury downloads through our DNA and through our chakra system are very much supporting with that. But we are alchemizing that on a very physical level, shifting our priorities, honoring our own needs, validating our own desires, so that we can be fully resourced to create what we are here to create, because what we are here to create is important and it's vital, and it's essential that we honor our paths and our purpose, and that we open to receive the material support and resources and abundance and nourishment that we need, that will enable us to our greatest capacity to participate in co-creating new forms and new structures that become the foundation of new ways of being on this earth, as yet unimagined and unprecedented. We are here as the conduits, as this Mercury opens us up through our energy system, through our DNA. Mercury opens up our capacity to receive. Taurus supports us on the earthly plane to receive and to hold, and to expand our capacity to receive and to hold, so that we can be nourished and sustained as we then move forward into participating and co-creating as manifestors of new structures on this earth. And that is an invitation that we're getting very strongly from Saturn in Pisces over these next 3 years. So we have Mercury going direct today on Monday. We have Jupiter changing signs, Jupiter moving into Taurus from where it's been in Aries. That's on Tuesday the 16th. We then have the moon moves into Taurus on Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we've got this real shifting of energies, shifting of things are changing. Mercury's movement is changing from retrograde to direct. There's a shift in energy there. Jupiter is moving from Aries to Taurus. There's a shift in energy there. The moon moves from Aries to Taurus. There's a shift in energy there. On Thursday, we have Jupiter squaring Pluto. So we'll have Jupiter in the first degrees of Taurus squaring Pluto, which is currently retrograde in the first degrees of Aquarius. So we have a new standoff, a new moment of pause between what has become possible through our activations and downloads, what is opening up in the collective through Pluto moving into Aquarius, and we have a moment of pause to take stock of what is becoming possible and what we are here to manifest, what our intentions for manifestation are moving forward. Because then on Friday we have the new moon in Taurus, where we have this invitation to set clear new intentions for manifestation. Following from that, the moon moves into Gemini, and the moon will see out the rest of this week in Gemini, and that will be followed by the sun moving into Gemini on Sunday. So we have another change of signs. We've got the sun changing signs from Taurus into Gemini. Now that's going to be very much in support of the energy of Mercury direct. I often find the Gemini energy, Gemini season, very heady. I can have lots of ideas and find it very difficult to ground any of them. And I spend a lot of time overthinking, over analyzing. So that's definitely something to watch out for in Gemini season, when we've got Mercury very strongly direct and we've got the sun and the moon both in Gemini on Sunday. There can be a tendency for myself in Gemini season, as I said, to overthink, overanalyze, procrastinate, and have an abundance of ideas, but very little earthing and grounding. So we can call upon this equally strong Taurus energy. We also have strong Taurus energy throughout this Gemini season, because we've got Jupiter in Taurus, as I said, for the next 12 months. So throughout Gemini season, we're going to have this expansive energy of Jupiter in Taurus, which is going to be supporting us, also with the support of this week's new moon in Taurus. It's interesting, I think, that we have the new moon in Taurus just after Jupiter has entered Taurus, and then the sun moves into Gemini. So we've got Jupiter in Taurus, and we've got the new moon in Taurus, supporting the grounding and the manifestation of the ideas that will come through for us in this Gemini season. While we now have Mercury direct, we can expect to open and receive a lot of downloads, a lot of new information, a lot of new light codes that will be moving fast, that will be perhaps difficult to keep up with. It's going to be a great idea to have your journal to hand, or even something that you can speak into, ways that you can record your thoughts as they move very quickly, very changeably through this Gemini season. And yet we also have the benefit and the support of Jupiter in Taurus and the new moon in Taurus, helping us to ground those ideas, helping us to plant the seeds for those ideas. So I would suggest on Friday, around the time of the full moon, that it would be good to journal first, to get clarity on what are your intentions for this new moon. What are your intentions for Jupiter in Taurus? What are you calling in? What seeds are you planting to bring into manifestation and co-creation? And very consciously to work with those energies and work with those Taurus qualities of prioritizing self-care, prioritizing self-love, self-pleasure, nourishment, experiences of abundance, prioritizing what brings you joy, what is good for you and supports you in your body and on this earth. Because actually shifting our priorities away from the need to work and think and be mentally active all the time, to being more embodied, more grounded, having a priority focus on what does my body need right now, what brings me pleasure, what brings me joy. Though that is an incredible, powerful mindset shift, one that I am still working with and have been working with for many years, but I can really feel it coming into new form now as I intentionally prioritize what I need, what my body needs, what I need to feel safe, what I need to feel secure, what I need to feel pleasure, what I need to feel at ease, what I need to feel abundant. to work with my capacity to open up and to receive and to earth and transmute, so that those energies, those air and earth energies, can work together in a more powerful and constructive way in support of each other. We have the, as I mentioned last week, we have the sitting bull energy of Taurus, the grounded, earthy, receptive energy of receiving, knowing that what is for us is already with us and is coming towards us. If we're not experiencing it already, we can give ourselves what we need to experience pleasure, joy, abundance in our earthly reality, because that is what will support us to be of greater service, to have greater capacity to be of service, and to be of more solid, valuable service when we can begin to manifest our ideas into form through our bodies. So this is a shift. It's certainly a big shift for me, and it's one that I'm sharing with you because I speak to a lot of visionary writers who have similar experiences. Our real invitation is to ground into this Taurus energy whilst allowing that grounding to support us in our opening, to receive those Gemini downloads, and then to transmute and co-create with what we're receiving. I want to mention another change of signs this week. On Saturday, Mars moves into Leo, and then will be opposing Pluto on Sunday. So Mars moves into the first degrees of Leo and then is in opposition to Pluto on Sunday. That can feel like some tension. We have the fire of Mars opposing this strong transformative energy of Pluto, and we've got that opposition between self-expression and creativity in Leo and collective expression through Aquarius. So every single day this week there is a change of sign or a change in energy. There's a shift in energy and a shift in signs for the planets. The moon changes signs every few days, but we have every day this week other planets and bodies changing signs every single day. So let's just recap. Mercury goes direct Monday. Jupiter moves into Taurus on Tuesday. Moon moves into Taurus on Wednesday. Jupiter squares Pluto on Thursday. We have the new moon in Taurus on Friday, and then the moon moves into Gemini. We have Mars moving out of Cancer into Leo on Saturday, and that can help to start to ignite some of that creative fire that Mars's passion is driving towards. And Mars has spent a long time in both Gemini and Cancer, where it's had to balance out its creative energy with the needs of thinking, the needs of communicating in Gemini, and then the needs of the emotional body, the inner child in Cancer. So as Mars moves into Leo on Saturday the 20th of May, we might find a reignition, an igniting of that creative spark, especially since, as I said, we now have Mercury direct. We will have Jupiter supporting us in Taurus. We'll have just had the new moon in Taurus to create new seeds for our intentions. Then we have the support of Mars going into Leo to ignite our creative fire and our creative drive. However, that is checked briefly by Mars opposing Pluto on Sunday the 21st. We're going to have another bit of a standoff between those two planets and a bit of tension before Mars is able to fully move forward into creative self-expression in the sign of Leo. And Sunday we have the Sun entering Gemini. So every single day this week there is a change of sign or a change in energy that feels like a real time of mutability to me, change, transformation, transmutation. Everything's in flux, and that's before we even get into Gemini season. We're still building up towards Gemini season, which starts at the end of this week on Sunday. Gemini season is going to be all about mutability, change, transformation, transmutation, changing state, shifting energies, new priorities, new information, new downloads, new light codes, new frequencies, new possibilities, new perspectives. That's all going to come through in Gemini season, and we're getting a taster of that this week. So one thing that we can do this week is call upon those strong Taurus energies to support us in staying grounded and in grounding and manifesting the ideas that are ripe for us to bring through. Because we might find in Gemini season that we have many different ideas and that they're not all, they don't all have the material stability for us to manifest. So we can get clear about that on Friday's new moon in Taurus. We can get clear about what are our intentions, what are we working with, what are we bringing through into physical form through our bodies and through our creativity. So on the subject of mutability, my reading for today is I'm going to play a recording of Maggie O'Sullivan reading her poem of Mutability. Many of you may not know Maggie O'Sullivan. She's not widely known in I want to say the mainstream, but she's very, very well known in UK. Well, I don't like saying UK. Very, very well known in British and more so now American experimental poetry. Maggie is a British experimental poet. Lives in the north of England, and she has been working in her form and in her style since the 1980s. She's been publishing since the 1980s. Now, when I'm speaking about things like bringing in new forms and transmuting new possibilities into new forms and creating new structures, and this is what I'm talking about as being the invitation of Saturn in Pisces to bring new forms and structures into being through our work as creative, as visionary writers and creatives. Somebody who for me is doing this and has been doing this for decades is Maggie O'Sullivan. Maggie is a beloved poet of many people who are familiar with her work and who are familiar with British and Irish and North American experimental poetry. Maggie O'Sullivan's poetry for me is intensely shamanic. The book that the poem comes from of Mutability is called In the House of the Shaman, and that's named from a Joseph Beuys painting. Maggie's work is intensely shamanic and visceral. I don't have the book with me right here because, as many of you know, I'm quite nomadic, and unfortunately it's on my bookshelf at home and not with me right in front of me right now, so I can't show you the pages. But when you see Maggie O'Sullivan's work on the page, it is visceral on the page. It is grounded in the physical manifestation of words as forms on the page. And when you hear Maggie read her poetry, which I'm going to play for you in a moment, that visceral quality is translated into sound form. In fact, Maggie works with sound as form, both on the page and in spoken word, and is very, very much an influence on my poetry, my writing, my style, my form. I have so much love and gratitude for Maggie O'Sullivan and her poetry, which is becoming more and more well received and recognised in the US as well as in Britain, Maggie works with sound. She works with the visceral qualities of sound and the visual forms of words on the page and in the voice. And she does that in a way that is, for me, very shamanic. And by that I mean it has the capacity to transform. She's creating new structures through sound and through the visceral manifestation of words that create new rhythms, new structures, new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing, new perspectives, new possibilities, new relationships between word forms. When we get stuck in the habitual thought forms that we have inherited through our cultures, our ways of thinking can become very limited. One of the things that Maggie does is splits those open like splitting the atom, bringing together parts of words that haven't been placed together before, bringing together words and phrases that haven't been placed together before, and opening up new possibilities through those juxtapositions that make new paradigms possible. And one of the ways that Maggie O'Sullivan's poetry does that for me is through the body, through the visceral internalization of those sound forms, those frequencies, those rhythms, those words. And then we can layer on top of that what the meanings and the possibilities open up. Maggie O'Sullivan's poetry, like my own, is not narrative, but it does tell a story in a way, and it does have meaning. But the meaning often is not, I would say the meaning always is not going to be the first thing that comes through to you when you hear it or when you see it on the page. And it's not like there's a hidden single meaning that we're trying to discover. The meaning is for all of us to discern and to open up to and to co-create, to participate in. And this is another reason why I'm so passionate about the poetry of Maggie O'Sullivan and writers like her, and this is why I've developed a style like this of my own, is that writing in this way for me is a very powerful invitation to participation and co-creation. There's not a set meaning, a set narrative that we're trying to figure out or follow along. Meanings open up, possibilities become made fresh and new every time we encounter these works of poetry. So this poem I'm going to play for you, because nobody reads it like Maggie reads it, is called Of Mutability. So it's about change, it's about transmutation. She opens the poem with a quote about alchemical transmutation that comes from Ezra Pound's cantos, and the poem, through its form and through its structure, moves towards this alchemical transmutation process, the alchemical creation of gold from base metals. And this is the process, this is the act, this is the participation that we're invited into through the poem. And it has many other layers as well. It's a whole story of its own. It's very ritual. Two lines I just want to pull out before we go into it. This is the making out of. This is the making out of. It's about making. Remember, I've said in a previous video, poesis is making. Poesis means to make. And in the poetry of Maggie O'Sullivan, we are making, and we're making out of words. We're making out of sound. And I think I said this last week, and I was reading from the Ho'oponopono book. We create through words. We create through sound. And by the end of the poem, the most beautiful last line, gold is recovered. Gold is recovered. These light codes, these frequencies, these downloads, these channels, these new possibilities that are opening up and manifesting through us. is recovered. It is possible. The transmutation happens. And in this poem, it happens through the poetry, through the viscerality, through the sound, through the rhythm, through the words. And so that's as much as I'll say. And I'm going to play for you now Of Mutability by Maggie O'Sullivan. I've tested the sound. I hope that you'll be able to hear it on the recording. I do want to mention, you've probably already noticed it, there's a slight beep in the background that I can't get rid of at the moment, and possibly the sound cuts out when that comes through, so I apologise for that. This recording is available in full on the website called the Archive of the Now, if you look under Maggie O'Sullivan's page, and I'll make that available in the notes. This was recorded, the Archive of the Now was recorded and curated by Andrea Brady at Queen Mary University London, and it's a great online resource of contemporary, mostly British experimental poets reading their poetry, and speaking their poetry, so we get the vocal and the verbal recordings of those poems to listen to and to experience. So this is Maggie O'Sullivan reading her poem Of Mutability from her book In the House of the Shaman, and it's in a section called Kinship with Animals.
Seeking the transmutation of metals, seeking a word to make change. Canto 57, Ezra Pound. Day the head, ground awls, flutters, out ift deed on spider, stand on bruise, webbed gold on barb pale, hammer to bleed blood, looks within, looks around. Wolf, no. Bone black with waded venoms, who has a drum, what I could not see of this I, again fire my claw for thonged night, morning dwelt skin of oak, skin of watery, scaldery, axe accelerations, utter blue ox. Diagonal illness, winter's pigment, head nor tail, turly higher tendons, falls down, runs about as feather, scalls, nuts, bids in the fist. Mainly water whilst animal, water was water with the arched back of an angry numbering. Mice things, hawk herd, wash fox, track out to and fro, lodges of skifting, sculled cut words, droving, the breath drink both faces, the skin pretending, bird begun, painting in ab sing water, plumage the face lamy milks, joint by joint, white risen to full poppy, tapty, trap, rigma, shot plus hand to mouth, trunk to tail sicknesses, bright tremble, more brothling, strut, spiral. Moon sank, moon amongs, into where I am the labyrinth, who, one who shoes, one who cures, one who heals, one who repairs, repeats, clearness of the counting beyond all breath, as if in the same breath, double purr to cold me things. Swan soak, soils look, salve light, sky eye. Susuk, susa, sunsa, sisuma, hee-haw. Beckoned magpie, yonderly, you to lamb. The halting place, each in the bad light, the rain did come with blydut, litted blue bitters, nervines and ridden, wounded, winged well, quick earth to lay, heathers gallingale and ear, how many times wilder cutted, snoutily paw seizes, bitter bleeds among sunken shade, skidded skulls, metal, teething crag stresses, root sicknesses. They are one to the body, first bittern, bark, field fair, rag a hand, more double, hair twisting, rib, gravel ears, dog, shielded are the axes, blue vomiting voltages, tilled me this, I then tilled me bloodshot wander, distilling nightshades, henbane, thorn apple, blood wakes eat on skull, weeping without cease. Abundances after singing times. This is the nature, this is the making out of cecity pink tibia thirsted fires, pite little palsied pitches, blood gate do grow even today, ploughshares broader the mean of hog, briar flesh froth fleece rot sticks copy out sky, flex flux flew, snipe ashet a braiding, bitters beak conduction, crystal a common lacerated thickly, early spring that came, summering copple blunts, clist seedless bomber dampling, traces of human bit, triply stilled, a bleeding means a dock growing to begin. Ill takes the word, ill not the taller small feet way on the face of the body, how quickly steps had been, how many times airs of rib, completely to crow I have leaned, as woods, short, heavier, bursts a new bell, pludinal, the earth's many root song, sparingly the moon tonight, skull in two different hills, chalk and soot, loven lurked, hops and I, flags and thunder, disintegrating thick bundled primaries steering to sulphur, glue's cap, shoe swap, blue sugar, a salt, a scab, a grafting glaze, uppies, downies, jumpies, fire sinuses, moongies, plaisies, taking this gift on the cheek, the meaning of bodies cut, the hand at work, the face, many days I have eaten, whortleberry kingdoms, falteringly, clown's way, creosote minutes, crying and fasting, flew trees, few truths, fish in frog, lowly upward, indigo pelt, edge against edge, livery scudding gashes letter, step to a space, mist spits. Look where the hairs had been, it cries on rock, flooding lips, diffuse in an open field, heather outwind, gold is recovered.
Oh, beautiful. We've got a few seconds of a Carolyn Hillier track that came on after that as well, who I was reading from a few weeks ago. I think they go pretty well together, actually. Really do encourage you to check out the work of Maggie O'Sullivan, both in her voice recordings on the Archive of the Now and in her books, which are available from, that one is available from Reality Street and other publishers where she's got other books. Maggie's work for me is very, very powerful, very alchemical, very, as I've said, shamanic in its process. And just one thing that came through to me as I was listening to that again was that, the more I listen to it, the more, although it's not narrative, there is a story, there is progression, there is life, there is meaning, but those meanings are always in flux and always inviting our participation and co-creation. So I cannot recommend Maggie O'Sullivan's poetry enough. Maggie's been a huge influence on me as a writer, and I feel very grateful to her for her work. So let's see who wants to come through in support of us this week on our tarot deck. I'm using the Wild Unknown Pocket Tarot. I don't know whether I've mentioned before, I'm not particularly aligned with the meanings that are given in the guidebook for this deck, but I do love the artwork and work intuitively with my own sense. What a beautiful, beautiful card that's come through for us today. We have the Fool. Look at this. We have a new bird, very, very much aligned with this time of the year at Beltane in the Northern Hemisphere. We have a new bird about to step off of a branch and take flight for the first time. And it's the Fool, and it's the card that is numbered 0. So here we are at the beginning of a new journey of possibilities, and I've been speaking about the energy and significance of this Taurus new moon that comes through following 2 eclipses. And we have Mercury now direct, we have Jupiter moving into Taurus. This Taurus full moon is a time for manifesting our new ideas, bringing in those new downloads that Mercury is opening up our channels to receive, and setting ourselves off on a new journey that might feel scary and unknown. We might not know where that journey is leading us, but we do know that when a bird first steps off of the security of a branch and spreads its wings to fly, it finds new freedom and new possibilities. And that for me is very much resonant with this transition from Taurus, the earth sign, into Gemini, the air sign, the bird making its transition from earth to air, opening up a whole new world of possibilities that were previously unimagined and unimaginable. So what a beautiful message of support for us in this coming week. And I just want to leave you with an exercise for this week to really breathe into the base of your spine, drawing up the copper light of Gaia's earth energy, feeling your connection, your rootedness into the earth. And through that connection, through that rootedness, through that sense of stability in your body, noticing an opening, a lifting, an opening to the sky, and an increasing in your capacity to receive what is yours. The wisdom, the knowledge, the pleasure, the abundance. All of those things that will support you on your path as a visionary writer or creative in this time. Keeping the focus on your breath in the base of your spine, so that every time you inhale, you are filling up your cauldron of creative fire, and that every time you exhale, you are expanding the capacity of your cauldron a little bit more, so that with every breath you are holding and retaining more light. You're feeling, I invite you to feel the safety of the earth as you are held in your expansion, and that you only have to go as far as you feel safe to go on this journey. But with every breath, we have the invitation to open up a little more, if that feels safe to do so. So I'm wishing you well and many blessings for this mutable week as we shift from Taurus into Gemini season. Setting your clear intentions for manifestation at the Taurus new moon. and shifting your priorities to receive the nourishment that you need, that will support you in manifesting what you are here to co-create on the earth. And before we go, I just want to mention my beautiful necklace here, which was a gift given to me yesterday by my dear friend and sister Sanjula. She is South African, and she brought this back for me on a recent visit to South Africa, made by Indigenous women. And when I put it on and I hold it like this, I can really feel and sense those women, their presence, their energy, their lives, their love, their creativity. I really wanted to give gratitude and thanks for this in my life, for those women who've made this, for Sanjula's gift. Because as I have moved through my life and, as you know, given many things away and let go of many things on the material plane, and am now coming into a deeper relationship with Taurus, I really value gifts, especially the love that is contained in a gift, which I really had not valued previously. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge the gift of this and this the manifestation of that love in material form as this beaded necklace and as a gift. Have real gratitude and thanks for receiving this in my life, and that's something I can encourage you also to journal with, what you're grateful for and what you are open to receiving on all levels. So I'm sending you love. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like it's probably been a long one today. And yeah, thanks for getting to the end if you have, and sending you lots of love. See you next time.